For almost 50 years, Midway USA has been America's go-to source for just about everything for shooting, hunting, and the outdoors. Go to midwayusa.com to see our latest deals and promotions and take advantage of our super fast same-day shipping. If you need a cooler, a new fishing rod, another rifle, ammo, or a reloading press, you can find it all at midwayusa.com. Thanks for your business.
At Midway USA, we put customers first. The Nitro Express shipping system is icing on the cake. It was a big investment of time and money to take super fast, low-cost shipping to a whole new level. The Nitro Express helps ensure same-day shipping and low shipping costs. We hope you enjoy the Nitro Express. We built it just for you. For just about everything for the outdoors, go to midwayusa.com.
I'm Larry Potterfield with Midway USA. Thanks for your business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Huntworth gear for all types of weather, all types of terrain, all types of budgets. It's clothing that just works. Check them out at huntworthgear.com. And right now they've got a 20% off sale for turkey season. The code is right there at the top. And be sure to check out their new Camden hoodie that is built specifically for warmer weather. So check those out at huntworthgear.com. This podcast is super fun. There's a few different things going on here. So we've got 3 podcasters and Jake. And we've got Brad from BDS Outdoors in on this project, a couple other guys as well. But we've decided to kind of pool all of our efforts together for filming. If you've ever tried to film and produce content or produce videos or produce anything at a regular clip during the season, doing it as a one-man show or with a couple of guys is really difficult. So we tried to actually focus and get together with guys that we knew were serious about doing it and all work pretty well together. We've got a hunt coming up in Kansas, and we were like, oh, we should probably film that, and then just kind of snowballed from there. And this podcast is kind of like a introduction to that, and I'm really excited for this. It's fun, and I think it's going to be a really enjoyable process for all of us, but super fun. Yeah, again, I think that's the theme of this whole thing, is just trying to enjoy it and share, the camaraderie and all that, and our different hunting styles and different things. So, guys, check that out. There's an Instagram right now. It's Roam, ROAM, and it may be Roam Mobile Hunting or something like that. But just look for it. And then we've got a YouTube going up here very shortly. We're producing like some of our old stuff, kind of working that out, and we filmed some stuff when we did this podcast. So stick with us, but coming up through turkey season, through TAC, we're all going to be at TAC together, all that stuff. Definitely check that out. Got to give a shout out, obviously, Huntworth Latitude. You can use code BHC to save 15% over there. Big Shot Targets, BCP, 10% on that. Check out our friends at Kanadi, Zinger, Genesis 3D. He's got a code for Patreon. And Painted Arrow, you can use BHC15 to save 15% over there. Again, this one is just a fun, lighthearted podcast with an introduction to the guys. And I really hope you guys enjoy it as much as we're enjoying working together on this. So, with no further ado, enjoy the episode. Thanks for listening.
All right, Nate, hit it.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Rome. We have 4 of the 5 guys here. This is going to be the 4 of us, I guess. We're just going to kind of talk about Rome here a little bit, a little kickoff. But we have 3 podcasters and an outlier, so we'll start with the outlier.
Yeah, so first...
Who is it? Come on, who is it?
Jake Burgess.
Yeah, and?
Adam Miller.
With?
Joe Davis.
And me, Nate Roosevelt.
So what is Rome? You're saying, oh, we're Rome. It's Rome, the podcast. Rome. And
Like a burial disease?
It is a group of guys, a bunch of misfits. And how did Rome? Yeah, Rome is essentially, I feel like I'm like the newbie to the group. I feel like you guys have been friends longer than me, but I kind of feel like I came up to speed really quick with you guys. And me and Adam kind of were talking, and it was kind of funny. I kind of expressed some interest to you to possibly do more with YouTube or filming because of our proximity to each other. And you were like, "It's funny you should say that. I've been talking to these other guys and I already want to do that." And I was like, "Well, that's awesome. Let's do something." And then it kind of became a fixation for me. Like, okay, let's do this, and started talking about names and all that stuff. And essentially I just thought of like Adam and like what your approach was to, because you like, that's kind of like the, you just like, I want to have fun. I want to just do the thing. And I was like, yeah, I like to be just kind of our everyday guys almost that have different, levels of experience. And I started just doing names on a whiteboard in my basement while I had an office day and came up with Rome. And it was for the acronym. And the acronym fits Adam to a T. And I think all of us. So we got Real, Opportunistic, Adventure, and Mindset. And that's kind of how Rome was, the name was started, I guess.
yeah, and from that beginning, it's like, this year I had a lot of fun filming, and like since we started the podcast and even the year prior to that, like I was filming, like just you take the camera and then it gets to be really like a grind, and you do so much, and the one time you don't bring the camera is the one time you see all the cool stuff, or you kill or whatever. And this year with the 360 camera and my phone, because like you can make it as, and so now we have 3 cameras going, and this is like blown up to be like completely out of proportion. But like I was like, I think with a cell phone and a 360 camera, because I mean like the funnest part about this season is like I went out with a trad bow and missed. I mean, shit, I shot 9 times in 10 sits, I think, at animals and killed 2. But I had the 360 going on most of it, so I could go back and show people, like, look how ridiculous this was. Like, can you believe that I missed this one or this one or this one? And I'm like, well, I just want to get more people, because everybody around us like wants to film, but they're in the same boat where it gets to be a grind and all that stuff. So I was like, well, we can just do this simply. And then, of course, Joe is freaking like a wizard with, he had already jumped in like both feet first, and then the level of like his reels and all the stuff. And so then Joe's like, yeah, I'm in, but he's like, I can't do just that because he wants to do more. And so I think what it's allowed us to do is to say, okay, well, we can up maybe our quality and all that stuff. But I think what it comes down to is hunting more as a group and not just self-filming. I think the idea here is like, yeah, there'll probably be a bunch of self-film stuff too, but when we have the opportunity to coordinate and have a camera guy like amongst us, like not necessarily hire a camera guy for us, because I'm like, definitely that ain't me. But yeah, so that was my like thought process on it and like how everything got rolling. So,
And I think, bring Joe into this a little bit. I know me and Joe have been, kind of communicating too often. I kind of like all of us like naturally just kind of became friends through either being on each other's podcasts or seeing each other on a camp, or, and then it's like we just continue to communicate after. And I think it's easy to do when you have a, similar mindset. But I know Joe went through a lot of stuff like with house getting flooded and, your crazy schedule and stuff going on. You were like kind of, I never listened to some of your episodes. You're like, I just kind of want to do maybe something a little different with the podcast, or communicate with you on the side, like how like you really enjoy filming and, doing the edits and stuff like that. So I think kind of like, I'm sure Adam had the same thought as me, like, hey, we can definitely go with, we want Joe to be a part of this because that's the thing we lack. Like, yeah, we know how to hunt, we know how to get on deer, but like me looking at starting a YouTube channel or trying to like add to the Michigan Wild podcast, and that way I was like, yeah, I don't have a chance. But we kind of all have enough skill sets and we're help each other out. And then, we got Joe, who doesn't like to admit it, but he blows us all out of the water with understanding how to do things because it's been a passion for you longer than it's been a passion for the rest of us.
I'm flabbergasted that you guys are speaking so highly of me just because cameras and mics are on. But it was just like something like I've always wanted to do, and it's so hard. Like you can get 15, 20 guys coming to you, go, I'm gonna film this year. I'm gonna film. I'm gonna film for you, or I'm gonna do some stuff for you, or whatever. And then they just either go away or they just, I get it, dude. I have the busiest schedule that I know of. And so am I pretty quiet or something?
No, you're good.
Oh,
I'm
Doing
trying to make
thing.
everybody
He's doing his
level.
thing.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. Okay. So, but I mean, it was just like with them things is like, I just wanted to find a group of guys, and I didn't want to get like rabbit holed or gar holed into like a group of guys. And it's like, and I didn't want to invite myself to, I would never invite myself to somebody. So I was hoping when Adam and the guys were talking about it, he would invite me, but invitation was like lost in the mail for a little bit. But eventually they did call me.
We had to really talk about it. We had a lot of discussion.
They said that his skill might outweigh his weirdness. So,
well, it was like the hardest thing is, like I said, I wanted to, like, my initial thing was like, I think we can just do this very simply. But and that was like in our initial conversation, like when we had our meet, you're like, well, does it have to be that? And it's like, there should be some continuity like across the board. So like, we can't like, we probably can't at least initially like move up to Joe's level of proficiency with the camera, but we can try to use the same equipment so that it has a similar like vibe, like I don't like it looks the same across the board, instead of being like, because you like watch something and then something's like super grainy and something has terrible audio and something is this, so to just try to make it, and try to put out like a quality product, like we all try to do with our podcasts and things like that. You can record a podcast on an iPhone, and some of them, I mean, hell, Jake Downs, his sounds really good. I don't know how the hell he does it, because I don't think he knows how he does it. But I think we try to make sure that what we're putting out there is like quality. And so it's one thing if it's like an afterthought, like, oh, I'm bringing a camera, I'm going to film so I can show this, versus like, we're going to try to film specifically this year. And I think that was like the trepidation, was just like, man, Joe's so fucking good. And like, but like, again, if you want to say good or whatever, but proficient with the camera.
Right. Yeah. But I still, like, I'm going to have poor shots. We're all going to have noise, if people know what noise is. Like,
he's already doing it.
No, I'm just saying it's going to be staticky, wherever TV static you want to call it. It's called noise in the industry. But there's going to be like times that we all have that. It's the nature of the beast. We hunt in low light situations. It's just, we're not going to have, you're every 10, 15 minutes look in the woods, how much brighter, how much darker. And then all of a sudden a situation that comes arise where a deer comes out there, are you going to be playing with your camera settings and all that? No, you're just like, turn it on, that's it. Like, that's the way we're going to be. I mean, we're going to be hunters first and then maybe cameraman second. But, I mean, I think it's going to take some steaming out and all that. But I mean, I know, like you said, like, I know people with $100,000 cameras. Then you get some guys on Instagram with a maybe $800 setup and all that, and putting out crazy sick stuff. It's all about repetition and just knowing your equipment.
But I think, like, beyond that, like, one of the things that was super intriguing to me, and I mean, whether like Nate will like admit it or not, I think it's intriguing to him too, because it goes against everything he ever believes in and everything he tells himself every morning before he goes to bed, or every night before he goes to bed. But like, so for me, like with Joe and Nate, these guys that, and granted, they are on a different level as far as like their expectations and all this stuff. But like they're passing on all of these deer and they're seeing all of these animals, and like to me filming, and like I can think back to like some of the coolest things that I've ever filmed were like bobcats or like these 3 spikes that were fighting at the base of my tree, like all this stuff where if you don't have a camera, it's one thing to talk about it, but it's very much another to be able to show somebody like how cool it was, and to even know that the camera didn't even capture, you know, a fraction of how, I mean, you could think about that with like the sunsets and all that stuff, but it's like super intriguing to me because, you know, Jake and I were having a conversation on the ride up here where I was just helping a guy out, and he was talking about with a rifle how he gets super jacked up and like gets buck fever on a doe at 50 yards. And he's like, I don't know how you bow hunters do it. And it's like, if you have enough deer in front of you, it's not a thing. But like for Joe and Nate, where they're hunting leases or permission ground in ag country, where they have all these big deer that they're passing some of the deer that would get me excited. And it's not even the like shooting of them, but like being in the opportunity to film the situation and kind of show that is super intriguing to me because I don't have access to that. And so on the flip side, what I'm talking about is I think it will excite these guys to be with me when I'm freaking double lunging a spike at 8 yards or something, because it's just something that they can't wrap their head around. But like to see like the fun and excitement and everything like that goes into it, that I mean, I talk about it a lot. I say it like somewhat tongue in cheek, but like that comparison is the thief of joy. And like every deer that I drag out, and it's that's just fun. And I don't know who, maybe it's my father-in-law, but he's like, killing stuff is fun. My daughter said that too, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think you can say that. I was like, I think I'm like, honey, like that's probably not a good. I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that that's like the message we're trying to put out.
She's been listening to Uncle Frank too much. I think that's why this is going to be kind of cool to do this project or this channel or whatever you want to describe it as. Like Rome is going to be like our core group of guys are similar, like with our passions and our hobbies, but we all have like a little different flavor of hunting. And like I look at other like channels I really like, that's kind of like you got like these guys only hunt public land, or then there's a group of guys that they all have like super well managed farms, and they like this isn't going to be that. This is just going to be like, hey, today we're maybe I could be following Adam around somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and we're going to smoke the first thing that comes by. Or maybe it'll be another hunt where maybe I'm targeting a deer I have history with that I've known about for a long time, and Adam's going to be sitting there like,
Midway USA knows serious shooters reload ammunition to save money on the per round cost of ammo over time. Whatever your goal, Midway USA offers a wide selection of reloading supplies from all the top brands to help support these pursuits. From reloading presses to dies, measuring tools, and other reloading equipment to essential components like bullets, brass, primers, and powder, Midway USA is your one-stop shop reloading supply store. For just about everything for reloading, shop MidwayUSA.com. Midway USA brand product designers have one straightforward goal: develop high-quality, technically sound products and deliver them to customers at reasonable prices. If you are immersed in the shooting sports industry and pay close attention to every single detail, you know our products are built right and stand up to everyday use. Who has shooting mats and range bag systems to hunting clothing and just about everything for the outdoors? Log on and shop 24/7 with super fast shipping. MidwayUSA.com.
his eyes are going to be like, I can't believe you're letting these deer walk by, so it's going to be a really good dynamic in that way. And then also like we all have I was intrigued with it because like we all have experience with like hunting and like learning and understanding how to like kill deer. I think sometimes you can get someone who's super excited because maybe they shot their first nice buck and they're like, I want to do this channel now. I want to film everything. I want to do this because I've like arrived. And it's like, no, you've never arrived, but like we've all had like years of doing this. Like the amount of seat time, Adam's had, or I've had, or, Joe, like we've been doing this for a long time. And I think that's like important to express that too. Like, even though that we've been targeting, higher age class deer for almost a decade, or, over a decade, or even trying to shoot deer with our bow and get pretty successful punch of tags. We still mess up. We still have hunts that don't go our way. I'll shoot over a deer's back. I'll,
Shoot him in the head.
shoot him in the back of the head with a recurve, all this stuff. And it's just still can just not take ourselves too serious, and have a good time with that. And I think there's a lot of good that can come from this too in that regard.
So you're awful quiet over there, Jake. Like, where do you fit into this mess?
I don't.
The hippie killer.
Yeah. AKA Mr. Underground.
Yeah.
So how does, like, what is your, like, thought process on this whole thing? Like, do you feel like you just got roped into this, or are you like, I signed up for this and here I am?
I signed up for it.
Okay.
Like, I'm just going at it as it's different. Like, it's different than anything I've done. So it'll be cool just to, like, experience a different aspect of, like, the whole hunting side as far as, like, with different people. Because I've only known hunting as myself or, like, with my dad or my uncle. Like, but that's what it's always been. So to do it with friends is probably going to be the best part about this, because it'll end up being a riot in itself. Like, I don't care if we shoot anything, honestly. Like, something will die, but it might be me.
Oh, shoot. Well, we might as well, bring in Brad to this too. It doesn't feel so left out, Brad. But Adam, you've probably known Brad longest, right?
Yeah. So Brad is we'll call him the wild card. He's a little bit ADHD, a little bit PTSD. He's 100 miles an hour all the time, and very, very committed to archery bow hunting or archery hunting, and he's like, oh, we're gonna do guns, we're gonna do that, like, oh my god. But I think that's but I think that's one of those things where, at least for me in my podcast, like, everything is bow hunting, and when we started it out, like, we didn't know we'd be doing it for damn near a decade, and also didn't know like the longevity. So we kind of we were just like, yeah, we like bow hunting. Well, we kind of painted ourselves into a corner there. So this allows us to showcase some of that other stuff. But from Brad's perspective, Brad's down in Tennessee, comes from New York, but it's landed in Tennessee. And, he would always talk about, like, in our polo group and our friend group and everything, that, he kills so many deer down there in Tennessee and has so many opportunities and all this stuff, and, like, went down there and hunted with them, and, like, he wasn't lying. Like, the amount of opportunity to kill deer in Tennessee is just, like, mind-boggling, even from a Michigan standpoint, where you can kill 10 does and 2 bucks. But he's been filming a lot. He's messed around in the industry and things like that, and has TikTok and all that stuff. I think he's been on all of our podcasts. Maybe not Nate, I don't know.
Yep, I've had him on.
But he's another guy who's really really passionate about this, and it's the same thing. Like, we end up where, like, we're doing all of these other things, so filming and, like, doing that on a solo basis is, I want to say, it's a really tall task. So to try to bring in other guys to kind of fill in the gaps where our hunts may or may not measure up or whatever. And I think when you try to do it and you're like, oh, I got to kill something, I got to do this, I'm trying to do it on film, it just makes it so much more pressing. It takes it at some level, it takes the fun out of it. So maybe in this, when people are having more, I don't know, where they're feeling like stagnant, like, some of the other guys can pick up the slack where it's not all on you. Mm-hmm. And I think, for Brad, this is an outlet for him to be able to have other guys to lean on too. And I'm speaking for Brad, but he's not nearly as articulate. So you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, from my perspective, you know, I've known him a little less than you guys, obviously, but he's a guy that loves being outside. He spends quite a bit of time doing outdoor activities, be that trapping, be that bow hunting. You know, he's pretty tore up with it. So being able to relate to a guy that has a family with some young kids, like we all have, you know, young kids and stuff. There's some merit there, and he does seem to always get on some deer every year. I mean, he does shoot quite a few deer. I think this year might have been a little lighter, and he's like, "Yeah, I only shot this many." I was like, "Dude, that's a lot of deer." He's like, "Well, no, that's way below my standard." I'm like, "Hey," so he definitely knows how to get after it, and he's in the area, like you said, Tennessee. There's plenty of deer.
Well, I mean, we were down there for 5 or 6 days, and he killed 2 does in one sit.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
he's just
and that was just like,
gets
it's
after
just
it.
another one. So,
absolutely. But yeah, I think I'm excited to see Jake too, kind of learn some stuff from him, because the way you were raised with hunting and stuff, you just do things you think is normal. It's like, hey, that's not necessarily normal. So having that kind of approach of, you know, being a guy that goes finds, you know, high class deer on public land in high pressure areas, and like I'm intrigued to see what you like, you know, in a setup. Like if we go hunt together or something, like, Jake, why'd you pick this spot? Or when we scout, or same goes for Adam. I mean, dude, you had so many deer within trad range last year on public ground. Like that's pretty impressive to get, you know, not only to get the deer to see deer, but to have them in range to shoot out with the trad equipment. So there's a lot of things that are going for a lot of guys. I think it's going to be pretty fun to learn from each other.
Yeah, I'm really excited because, like, I don't know, maybe I don't know if I don't watch a super amount of like YouTube like hunting channels and all that, but you never see one start a channel like the growing pains of it. I think that's what we're gonna highlight a lot of this first process of this year of us just trying to figure it out and just show that we're super normal and super bad at it.
You're not normal.
Well, there's definitely some tisms in there. Sure. So I don't know what ones yet, but they won't give me prescriptions yet.
All of them? All the tisms.
All of them, baby.
All of them.
But yeah, dude, I mean, it's gonna be fun. I don't think we're talking a super big game yet, but hopefully it doesn't flop or nothing, but I don't think it will. We'll have a lot of missed videos then or something.
Yeah.
well, but I think, like, you know, realistically, if we are going into it with the mindset of having fun, and like, this isn't like, you know, this is not our job. This is not even like our season is not defined on what we like capture on video or whatever. But I think almost the inverse is true, is like, we want to share our normal seasons, what we do on video. And, you know, so it doesn't, I'm excited to go out there and like video killing 700 does in the early doe season to do some like crop damage stuff. Like I'm excited to go out and, you know, do some like tracking in the snow, like late season, like stuff like that. And not for like the sake of content, but just to go out there and have some of these other experiences and do some of these things that you guys do that isn't necessarily my like normal time. And one of the things I was going to say, and it kind of like goes off of like what Joe's talking about, and, you know, Nate's talking about seat time and all that, and Joe's talking about, you know, guys who are like all gung-ho that like, oh, I want to go do this, I'm going to go do this. Like, all of us know what it actually means to like, I'm going in a mile and a half in the dark. Like, I'm going across this river, through this swamp, over this thing to get to that spot. And there's guys who say, oh yeah, that sounds like fun, I want to do what you do, until you get them there in the dark and they're like, I don't know how you do this every day, or why do you do this, or like, and like, it's just, that's where I hunt, you know. You know, when Jake, you know, gar holes me and says it's a half a mile down there, and you got to go like through freaking, the banjos are playing and all the things. Like, he didn't think like, oh, he won't be able to get there. And I think that that's really important too, is like with the group of guys, like we all understand like it. And I don't want to say that it's like the commitment, because it's not a commitment. Like that's where we hunt. That's what it. It's what it do. It's what you have to do.
It's just part of it. Like that's just that's the lifestyle. That's what it takes. On a whim, right? Like on a slight, you're doing that because that could be the time that
But was
deer
it the
walks
time?
by.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, it was. But I mean, to Nate's point, like to see, like, because the way that Jake operates is apparently super unorthodox, because it's like he sent me a pin and I went there, and there is no way, there is zero chance in hell that I would have set up there. Zero. There wasn't a deer track within 100 yards, 200 yards, quarter of a mile from where I was sitting. And I saw a doe and a fawn, and then I had a 2.5-year-old 8-point come in behind me. And I mean, it was right on the X, but there is no way. There's 0% chance. And again, that's one of those things where, I was, and this is before this was 2 years ago, but I'm trusting Jake because of, his experience, and I know he knows the area. But he's sending me trail cam pictures of all these bucks and all this stuff on all these scrapes. There wasn't a scrape within a mile of that spot. So maybe he did. Maybe it was just lucky.
Well, I hunted it a couple days before that, so I mean, it worked out.
He's like, I seen 70 deer.
Dude, I seen it was like 24 before like 4, and I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, they didn't leave any tracks. They took them with.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of times that people just, I get it. There's a lot of it. Everybody's like, you got to be 2 miles deep before you see any deer. It's not necessarily true, but then there's a lot of times where you get people in there and you go, okay, we're going to go deep or whatever, or like that. And they go, wow, that was crazy. Like now imagine dragging a 200-pound deer out of here. That's when the real nut up or shut up point comes, when people, you still got to get a deer out of here if you do get it. So
Nope, that's it too. I mean, how long did you wait for me this year?
A long time. Yeah, Jake killed his deer this year, and I'm like, do you need any help? And he's like, no, my dad's coming. And this must have been like right at dusk or whatever. And like, I think he showed up at midnight, 1 o'clock.
70 degrees, just
blood dripping out of the van.
Oh yeah.
In the worst time to kill a mature buck.
Yep.
Time frame of the month.
Yeah.
October lull.
Yeah.
But
you're close to it, yeah.
October 5th.
But I think, like, circling back on Brad, we went down and hunted Tennessee, and Eric's going to do some filming and stuff with us this year too. We were kayaking through a cornfield in a thunderstorm. Like and Brad's like, I need an Eric. Like, I need a guy that's like, do you want to do some sketchy shit? Like, absolutely. Are we going to kill a deer? Like, maybe. Everywhere we did, like, do you think we should kayak into this place we've never been in the dark? Like, yep, yeah. Map looks good. Like, let's do it. And and that's, when you get back to that roam, like that adventure, like, adventure to me is not sitting in a ladder stand on a field edge or a bait pile. But it doesn't mean that there isn't like a place for it for kids or for, whatever. And hell, I guess for guys, if that's all you can do. But I think like what we really enjoy is that not knowing what's around the next bend, what's,
definitely like going around the corner and seeing an Amish dude in a homemade wooden tree stand, but would have a $3,000 raven in his hand. Didn't think you'd see that, but in Indiana,
here we are.
Yeah.
I think it's cool too because you have like that, out of state trips and going hard on public land, like all that stuff. We all have experience with that. And then like from my perspective, and I don't know how much Joe's able to do like habitat wise or food plots or anything like that. Like I kind of have the opportunity to do a little bit of that too. Not necessarily to the extent like obviously I'd love to be able to, go full send and just have a super well manicured property to hunt all the time. That's not the case, but I do like with limited time and like, hey, I got to have, a few spots to hunt. Like I've had success setting up little properties and having these little pockets that you quick bomb into and do a quick hanging hunt on, multiple areas. And I think it's good to show that side of it too, because it does take time to do some of these other things, but you can also invest time in that. So like a lot of my, scout, instead of, walking hundreds of miles, some of those free time, I'm out making a micro food plot somewhere, or I'm, setting up a spot for the kiddo to hunt, or those kind of things. So I think it's a real, that's one of the acronyms is real. And I think that's what we're all like going through that. And then Adam, you have your UP property, which, through your podcast, you talk about it, but also you don't talk about it enough because it doesn't really like, I don't know if it's not that it doesn't fit, but it's kind of like, dude, that's really cool that you take all those girls out there and there's a line of them, someone shot a doe or something and you get to see that part. And like, there's a desire there to make that property better. And, for that aspect of the deer camp family, deer camp kind of a thing. So we're very diverse in like what we do. And, there's more than one way to skin the cat, as everyone always says, and that goes with hunting and just enjoying the process. And I think that's what I'm kind of like looking forward to seeing how that can like translate through the lens of a camera, or like, are we going to be able to like portray this in a way of, hey, maybe you only have this 20-acre piece down the road that you knocked on door permission, but hey, I've had the same thing and I've shot some really great deer on here because I've done X, Y, and Z and it's worked for me. Maybe it'll work for that guy. Or, you can be like Adam or Jake or whatever, like, yeah, I've never had a desire to even do that because I want to go see what's over the next ridge, or I want to go try to find a deer in this bottom, or, so it just kind of will appease to a lot of different people, I think, in that way.
Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.
Friends of NRA is your chance to support our Second Amendment rights and preserve America's hunting traditions. Join Friends of NRA at one of our 600 exciting events nationwide. From games to auctions and exclusive firearms, Friends of NRA events are your chance to support a cause you care about while having a great time with patriots in your community. Whether you're a seasoned shooter, an avid hunter or outdoorsman, or passionate about freedom, there's a place for you within Friends of NRA. Visit friendsofnra.org to find an event near you. Stand up for freedom with the Friends of NRA.
Or go find a guy, an Amish, go hunt by the Amish. You were surrounded by Amish in Indiana. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
It was like every day. I was like, how's it going? I seen 4 Amish walk by. I'm like, where are you?
Yeah.
Well, when we were down there, like Eric and I were driving down and Joe's like, you're never going to believe this, but an Amish guy just went right by our campsite in a canoe with a climber.
Yeah,
Like-
dude. Wild. Dude. I was like, yeah, we were all to the campsite, and I was just like, hey, there's not that many people here. Maybe there's not that pressure, because it literally, this campground is surrounded by public land. And that's like the first thing I'm seeing. I'm like, holy shit, these people are getting after it. And it would be like, I don't know if this is technically legal, but the Amish girls would go in there, because you had to check in every morning, and they wrote out like 15 permits, because each person needs a permit where you're hunting at for the day. They would write out 15 permits. I'm like, oh my!
So they could get a jump start on.
Yeah, because they
had
just send the
someone
kids
already
out to go get the permits. And they have the permits. And
That's
stuff.
great.
Yeah.
Hey, cheating the system. That's what they're
well, it wasn't like they were going to put it in the front windshield of their car.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hope this. I really do hope this turns out, but but I just think the transparency is what is going to be the best about this. Just
You keep saying like you hope it turns out. Like, what are your trepidations?
Word of
That
origin,
yeah,
please.
Again, I'm sorry.
trepidation.
We already
Using all
used
these fancy. I got a headache.
What what makes you nervous?
I mean, well, like we talked about like fears and stuff, man. Just like I just don't want to be another fucking average Joe, you know. No pun intended there. I mean, I'm just saying. That's what I don't want. I don't want that to be. And then there's nothing wrong. Like I'm not saying like you guys better get the best footage of your life. Like I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. I just don't want this to be like a fizzle. You know what I mean? Just like yeah, we're all gonna crank it out, and then just not.
Well, I think realistically, like maybe with the exception of Jake, but what I mean by where I'm going with this is like Jake's the youngest one. He's like, but he's married. He's got a kid, and I feel like that's kind of like the biggest like things where you think about like the old song like. You know, the guy quit and this guy got married and yada, yada, yada. Like, that's why the band broke up, you know, but we're kind of all past that.
Yeah.
And we've already like, we're saying, okay, this is something that we want to focus on. And like, as adults, it's something that we can like commit to like together. And it's not like just with random dudes who you don't know. It's like your buddies, right? So I think that is kind of like where it's not concerning to me, at least, is because it's like I know like where my level of commitment is, and again, like having all separate entities, like we are all proximally located so that we're able to like hunt together, film each other. We already have some hunts and things coming up that are already like in place together. And then anything that we do on our own, but it's like, you know, if I'm not, and I don't know how this would happen. Maybe I broke my leg or something. If I'm not able to hunt this week or this something, like I know that Nate's going to be able to do it or you're going to be able to do it. It's not like we're not singularly tied to one another where like if I don't hunt, then Nate can't hunt because I got to have his permission to go on this property. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I feel like some of that stuff happens too where like one guy is like more motivated and the other guys are just along for the ride on the hunting aspect. So it's like, if he's not hunting, well, I don't hunt that much. I was just going to film anyway. So, you know, so I don't really like, that's like the least of my concerns. And I think that also kind of like determined who's involved, right? Like, because it isn't, again, it's not guys who haven't already committed to like a bunch of other stuff. But just like the filming is the one thing that we would like to do, but we just maybe suck at it or lack the like motivation because of all the other stuff. But if I had a guy to help me, I mean, how many times have you said that? If I just had another guy, then it would be so much better. And so now we have, instead of saying we just have one more guy, now you got 4 other guys to help kind of shoulder the weight. So I mean, I'm from that aspect of that's like the least of my worries.
And I'm excited because it's just like it's kind of like a long game, right? Like I think we're all looking at this as this isn't like something we're just going to be an overnight sensation. We're not trying to be, you know, trendy. We're not trying to do that. We're just like, hey, we'll put forth some effort towards this because we've seen the reward on our time with podcasting, or, you know, understand that podcasting is more about building relationships and, you know, kind of finding new friends. And, you know, sometimes the perk is you have a really awesome partner you can work with that can help make those things easier. And I think this whole Roam thing is going to take a very similar approach. Like we're going to continue to evolve and get better and, you know, learn how to do things, you know, more efficiently or at a higher quality. And like, that's why I'm intrigued by it. Cause it's like, I don't have to come out of the gate just A+ here. I can kind of go and film and learn how to do some things I've always wanted to do. And now I have guys that are doing it with me. And I also have guys that can ask those questions because we're a team and we're going to, you know, learn at a level together, parallel kind of a thing. And, like 5 years from now, I want it to still be going and, find out like, hey, this is kind of how we like to, produce some videos, and hopefully there's a lot of new hunters at the end of it. There's a lot of guys that can learn some stuff. We'll continue to build our network of friends and all that stuff, and just normal guys just enjoying the outdoors. And I think that's a super important aspect of it. And maybe Adam will actually, shoot some 3.5-year-old bucks on purpose. Like, that'd be pretty awesome.
I'm going to hold your breath on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you give a 5-year time frame, then maybe on accident.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
Yeah.
I'll accidentally find one and then I'll kill him on purpose.
Yeah, first sit. Like you'll go in the only deer you see, and then it's like, I targeted him for sure.
Yeah, I had him on camera.
Yeah.
In July.
Well, and I think like the big thing is like a lot of us were quote unquote coming from the industry, or like we're part of the industry, if you want to. I say that lightly, like don't get me wrong, no one knows who the hell I am, but I'm just saying like we are have, most of us have partners or stuff, or the people we work with and all that. Like we don't give two shits if our stuff doesn't get picked up. You know what I mean? We don't have to please to no one on that side of that. So we don't have to do stuff to please everybody and all this stuff. And I think a lot of people just like are trying to make it like, oh, let's make it. Like, honestly, like I want to be successful and like I want to put out a good product, but like I really give two shits if I get 3 views. Like as long as I put out an awesome video, I'm happy with it. I'm gonna be happy. I don't know about you guys.
Good morals. Quotation morals. Why did I look at Jake when I said that? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Jake.
Why, look at me.
All right, Jake, we got to talk about, we're talking, so for me, it's never going to be about inches. It's never going to be about age class. But one of the things across the spectrum of Rome, and I think it's going to be a big hang up for Nate, probably Joe too, just because of the way that we are and the way that we operate in our hunting season. I think success can always be measured in like milligrams of caffeine. So where do you fall on that like baseline?
On a daily?
I mean, for our group collectively, for
our baselines is dramatically increased because Jake's on there.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you guys got to get like into that 300 like that's easy
That's
to do.
300 more than I do now.
Well, that's your problem. That's probably why you're a Debbie Downer all the time.
And I think, if we're talking about partners and stuff, like if anybody's got to hook up with White Monster or Ghost,
Oh shit.
like,
Grape Ghost. Grape Ghost is like
I won't drink it, but I'll definitely wear the hat.
Yeah.
Break some drywall and stuff, dude. Just punching holes in drywalls for about 2 hours.
I mean, Greg always comments on Jake's stuff like the eyes don't lie, like he's psycho killer. But I think it could be the amount of caffeine.
It's the caffeine for sure.
Definitely, like couple bang energies, just straight.
Yeah, right.
Just boot them in there.
IV it.
IV it. And
Yeah.
Boof it. You boof a pouch or whatever.
No.
Hits the bloodstream quicker.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all have our quirks, and that's what's going to be appeal.
I don't sleep, so I mean, I got to just like keep it going.
Keep it rolling. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be fun to do that. I mean, video wise, I guess we can kind of talk about, I don't know when we'll launch this podcast here, but we got some stuff kind of in the works, right? I mean, I got a rabbit that's kind of on film that shot with a pistol one-handed. That's kind of cool. Joe hasn't seen that footage yet.
No, I haven't.
That might be
you
one of
don't
the
show
first things.
me anything.
I don't even have a good way.
There's already clicks in this fucking group, and
no one's seen it but me. I finally got it on the computer the other day and looked at it. I was like, oh, sweet.
Well, I did
have it on camera.
I was walking him through, Joe, how to create a timeline so we can send you a timeline and not just a 25-minute clip.
Oh, yeah.
I did. I was like, Adam, so I know you've talked about this, but like, what do I got to do here?
Yeah, thank you. I mean,
yeah, going on a hog hunt. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think, unless something comes up. But
when do you leave for that?
The 27th, I think, or the 28th, that Friday of March. So quick. Couple weeks. That'll be fun. I shot 7 last time I went, so it'll be a good time. A couple buddies go down there and, yeah, eradicate hogs is the name of the game. So sit on
you eat
feeders.
it?
Yeah, we did. We actually had just got done with a wild game dinner in February. I donated I think we brought back 3 or 4 pretty good sized ones. We processed them there at the ranch and brought them back in coolers. And then my uncle's been helping with, and grandpa have been helping with wild game dinner for a long time, and did some pulled pork out of those. And it was really good. A lot of people liked it. So yeah, donated that. I don't know if we'll go quite that crazy because that's a lot of work because it's warm down there and you got, you shoot pigs, you get back. I think I slept 45 minutes that day and was run to the store in the morning when they opened to grab stuff, and we were processing and getting them on ice. Well, yeah, it was cool. It tastes, I mean, a little different than like a domestic, hog, but overall I was really impressed with how like healthy they were, and the area of Oklahoma has got a lot of water and acorns and pasture and stuff, so they have a lot of fat on them, and they were a lot bigger than I anticipated when I went down, that's for sure. So but yeah, we'll eat I'll probably keep one, or at least part of one, depending on the size of if I get a couple, and do some slow roasting and stuff on that, just to kind of cool to be able to do that. But the name of the game is to eliminate hogs, so which is impossible to do, but it's fun trying.
So we've got that. We're all going to be shooting the tack at Boyne. So that's going to be fun. I mean, Joe got some really fun video last year of us. And even the year before, he said, screw us, I'm going to go film the Latitude guys. And they got some really fun video there too.
I'll blow you off tomorrow.
The Latitude calls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Know who your friends are. How do you even know those guys?
There was in a strange room in Pennsylvania at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was watching some NDAs get signed. It was weird, dude. I'm pretty sure somebody didn't even have pants on. But
probably Adam.
So we've got that, but then we're all, assuming that we draw, should be good, but planning on hunting Kansas together this year. And so I guess, like, Joe, he does not like the term. I mean, he's head of our creative department.
There is no creative department.
Yeah, well, it's a quantity of one. So I mean, you're not only the president, you're also a member. So from that, like, what do you want to see, like, from that? Because again, like, and like our Patreon hunt too for my podcast, like the energy, the deer camp, like all of that stuff, but that's like fun. And I feel like when you get into a situation like in Kansas, on those out of state hunts where you're on a truncated timetable and there is, like, quote unquote, like something at stake, you got dollars into the tag, it's
Right.
something different. It's a little bit different of a mindset. It's more of a business mindset. And I don't mean like business for this. I mean business like, I'm here to hunt, so we're hunting.
Yeah. Like what I want out of like filming and stuff. Like, I think like the hardest thing is like just having the hand, like being natural around the camera and stuff. That's really hard. Just like naturally, just pull it out, dude. Just have it out and all that. But I think people
We're talking about cameras, Jake.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, just like, I don't know. I think people just want to see the stuff that maybe you don't even think is important, dude. Like, just pulling out stuff, just some of that B-roll, just so people like, or just seeing the campsite of it, or just sleeping arrangements and like the funny stories you hear about, dude. You just hunt it for 14 hours basically and just get back to camp. Like, the funny stories are just, it's like almost like a podcast that no one can ever listen to.
Do you remember that guy at the gas station? Like, can you believe that? Like, yeah, that sort of shit.
Yeah, there's stuff like that. Like, I think a lot of people want to see, and we could be, I understand that people want to see like that, but we don't have like jury money or like all that stuff. Like, we don't have like $15,000-$20,000 worth of camera, and then 2 months to fucking hunt one deer. Like,
There's $15,000, $20,000 worth of cameras in this room.
that is true, but I'm just saying
a lot of them combined.
yeah, it is kind of a spectacle of how much money and camera stuff we got going on right now. But I'm just saying, like, there's like people out there just with like crazy setups and stuff like that. But I just think people, or I want to see, it's just the rawness of it, dude. I just want to see the guys with 2 hours of sleep. I want to see the people that just shot a deer, helped a buddy out there, but he still gets out in the woods an hour worth of sleep and all that. Just seeing that stuff, and I don't know, man. I think there's a highlight that we can focus on, and I don't know our niche. I don't know if we have a niche, or if we hit the blur Jake's face out or something. I don't know what we want. Like, but I'm just like, you should, well, kind of that's like cartel calls, and the guy's always wearing a ski mask or something. Yeah. We'll have to do something for Jake, blur his face out, put bars over his eyes or something. But I'm just saying, like,
dude, every time he's sitting in a tree, like, just be focused on him, and you can't see anything around him, so you have no idea where he is.
Or it's just like, instead of like portrait, it's like from the neck down.
Yeah,
like it's only arms.
You only see that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the faceless.
We don't have a niche.
Faceless.
And I'm like,
this podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injury is an additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Gear up for the hunt and learn from the best with Deer and Deer Hunting Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on Waypoint TV. Tune in every week for expert hunting tips and unforgettable moments in the field. Waypoint TV, your destination for outdoor entertainment.
I don't want us to be like, we're going to go out and we're going to kill 160 inchers. We're going to put 10 of them on the ground.
Oh, no. That wasn't that wasn't the basis of my question.
Oh, I thought that was our goal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to.
I'm killing
if
the
I
first.
find a 160, I'm going hard in the paint after
it's
for sure.
It's
60.
It's always for me. It's always Pope and Young until one gets in front of me, and then I'm like, well, he's good enough.
Joe, 160 combined.
But I've passed deer on public land out of state that I would have shot here in Michigan in 12 seconds. Like,
that spike horn in Indiana.
That one, that was
I know
you.
Joe was like, "Come on,
yeah, that's like but they're really like the best people to be in your corner and all that. Mm-hmm. That's why we click so well. It was like when you get something, you just send them, "Hey, check this out." Everybody in the group chat's just like smoking, like no balls, no ball.
Well,
and, like,
it's even like 2 years ago when I sent you the picture of that spike.
Oh yeah,
and he was like, "Shoot it," and I'm like, "I can't," and he was like, "Well, rules are meant to be broken." And then 20 minutes later, I just sent him a picture of the deer that I shot on the ground, and he was like, "Is that yours, or
did you do it?"
Yeah, well, you can't be a trophy.
Hey, let's not glaze over some turkey stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, turkey stuff too. They'll probably be on there. That's coming up quick. I know we both have kids that are going to try to shoot. Stella's shot a turkey before, correct? Oh, she has not.
No,
so
so funny story is like she's like. Because I called in a bunch of hens, and she's like, "You sure we can't shoot a hen, Dad?" I'm like, "No, but put the gun on her. Just get used to it." Like, but sure we can't shoot a hen. Like, I wish we could shoot hens. Like,
so she wants to. The desire is there.
Oh, she's
some. Wasn't that filming? You're gonna be taking her out.
Mm-hmm. Well, but she's a lot like her dad. Like, she's a shooter.
It's good. The world needs more of those.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there'll be some of that. I mean, our first thing we'll kind of do as a crew of guys film is gonna be tack, though, right?
No, turkey will be before
turkey.
That.
I guess, yeah. That's right. We'll do turkey. I don't know if Joe's gonna make. Are you gonna make the trip and film some turkey hunts?
I don't know. Maybe if you invite me. I don't know. You guys got your own clique going on over here.
But I'll tell you what. Like yesterday was such a nice day. Well, like this week has been really nice. And yesterday we were driving in the morning to go downtown, and we passed this cornfield. And like I looked to the left, and I was like, "Oh my God!" In case you thought like she was gonna hit something or something, and it was 2 longbeards, like full fan with some hens, but it was like you know how sometimes you see them and they're like really dull, and you're like, oh, these were like red, blue, white heads, like, I mean, full fan, like right together, and I was like, oh my god, and it was like gloomy like it is today, so it was like this pop of color, and I was like, holy shit. And like like we see turkeys all the time, I normally don't get like that excited, but I mean, just the color was like, oh man, that gets you really thinking.
It's gonna be it's here. It's gonna. I mean, I heard cranes are back, robins are back, a lot of geese are flying back. Like we're
shoot all of them, right?
shoot them all. Yeah, we're rolling forward, and I like it. New season is upon us.
And I think like what we should almost focus. I know a lot of people are deer hunt and stuff, but like in turkeys and stuff like that, them are like the 2. You know what I mean? But you said we're gonna do other stuff. You know, maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll, like tack and then do some other stuff. Like I don't know.
Jake's gonna film me fishing on the big lake.
Yeah, maybe some duck stuff. I don't know. There's not one little corner that we're gonna be stuck in.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get some cool footage of like rabbit hunting because there's not a lot of that. First of all, it's really hard to film rabbit hunting. I found that out this year trying to film my buddies and do that stuff. But I mean, I spend a lot of time every winter chasing rabbits with the beagles with a group of buddies, and it's a riot. It's a blast. It's you don't have to be quiet. You can joke around. Lots of shooting goes on. There's a lot of missing. It's just a really good time. So for me, it'd be like, man, it'd be really cool to get some solid footage for that to kind of shed some light in a positive way towards that. It's a great avenue to get new hunters in and do some fun things, and lots of different weapons you can use to take rabbits, and that's kind of what opened the door for me to not be afraid to ask for permission. I never really was afraid to knock on a door, but when you're going up to a door and knocking like, hey, you mind if I rabbit hunt back here? You get yes a lot. So that kind of was fun to, just kind of give people opportunity to be a little different than what they're, you're stuck inside all winter. You can go chase some rabbits or chase some squirrels. That'll be fun to kind of I love shedding light on small game hunting. So I need some wizardry with a camera because sunshine and snow and in and out of, thick cover is kind of difficult to film, but it'll be good.
Yes, sir. So, Jake, closing thoughts?
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
You want to call dibs on who you think's going to fill a tag this year?
No.
You don't have any predictions? Nothing? Okay.
No, I don't like to set standards on any of it.
But I just thought it'd be kind of fun what you're feeling.
Fill a tag? Oh, I'm going to fill a tag.
You're going to fill a tag?
Oh, but
okay.
I told you, I'm like, this year, I want to kill one with a shotgun, and I just bought that lever gun, so I'm going to kill one with that too, or one of each, or one or the other. But like, kids be damned, like they don't want to get up. I'm going out there and I'm going to shoot the first thing that walks by, and it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm waiting for a big doe. Like, nope, boom, like
done.
Blow the spots right off it.
Yeah. Well, I was more so wondering, Jake, do you have any prospects? I almost want to know if Jake's got prospects.
For what?
From deer, from some that made it. Because I know you're kind of.
I always have some.
I know. Do you have some good ones that you've confirmed have made it after the season?
Yeah.
Nice.
To know how big they are.
Yeah, I know, but that's what excites me this time of year. Like the thought process of, okay, yep, that one that I seen, he was doing this last year. Like he could be one I could target next year. The gears are turning. And like right now is when like some of that stuff is. I know you've got a lot of your scouting done already because you do it in season with a gun in your hand for the following years, kind of like your approach. But if you have a couple good ones, because this year might be a little light going into my 2025 fall, but we'll see what happens. I might have to go find some.
I want to get
new spots.
I want to get Nate out on some public land to shoot, and we talked about this like from the Patreon hunt and stuff like that. But I just want to get Nate like out on some public land and like give him like that. I don't know, a little like extra push, because I mean he told me with a straight face adamantly that his standards would not change with a stick boat, and
They did.
And he says, well, I've passed these deer on public land and da 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 da. But now we're into a situation where maybe his pool of deer isn't that much, and maybe his, so do your standards change, or you're like, nope, I still want the guy over the ridge to shoot him. Like, I hope he does. Like, get the fuck out of here with that.
I faced a similar 2021. I faced a very similar year that 2025 is looking like. I had a lot of deer, and a lot of people shot them. Like, they didn't make it through the year. In 2021, I don't believe I filled a buck tag because I was just looking. And that was like one of the years I spent a lot of time on public actually that year. And some of those spots I've told you about that I found some like nice deer, I'm going to probably go back to the bank a little bit this year and put some assets and see, if my intuition was right. But it's difficult to, like, I'll be straight up honest, when you've targeted bigger deer and you shot bigger deer and you get trail cam pictures of stuff and you look at them, it's like, yeah, that's not really what I'm like looking for, but there might be what I'm looking for over here. So you almost can like dismiss an area or a spot really quick that way. And now fast forward 2025, I'm kind of like, man, I wish I would have actually like hunted a little bit more some of those spots, because then I would feel a little more prepared this year. Not knowing this was going to be the year that I was going to have potentially. It could all be different. One trail cam picture can change all that, but that's one thing I do want to add. And yeah, my standard with a recurve in my hand changed a lot. That was interesting. Didn't seal the deal with it, but it was about like you said, 12 seconds, and you're shooting something. It was about 15, and I was like, yep, I'm doing this. And yeah, so it'll be fun to see how that all shakes out. And the commitment to public land has been something I've always liked to do, and I've scouted a lot of it, and I've hunted areas in Michigan, but I think I'm going to spend a little more time this year hunting in Michigan in public, or maybe I'll get lucky and some of this permission stuff I've been trying to get, I'll actually get this year. You never know when you could get a yes, 1 year and then have it the next, and then you could get it pulled out from underneath you too. So I think just being a little more well-rounded in Michigan is kind of a goal. Going out of state, yeah, I'll walk it. I have no problem hunting public out of state. That's fun to me.
You just got problems shooting.
Got problems shooting. And hey, I shot this year and I made it happen. But
I know. And you checked all of your boxes, you hit all of your goals, and you enjoyed it.
It was awesome.
Would it have been better? Would anything have changed if that deer had another 15 inches on it?
Oh no! Like if he had brow tines that he didn't have, no, I don't think you could have. But that was, like I told you, the reason why that checked in boxes is because I made my mindset changed on the way down the second time. I was like, hey, I'm going to take advantage of a really good opportunity if I get one, and not be so fixated on the things I'm usually fixated on. And it happened to be that first night it worked, and I was like, I can't dismiss this. That was kind of a cool thing. I guess doing it long enough, you understand those opportunities aren't that common. And yeah, it checked all the boxes. It was awesome. Now this year, if I'm in the same situation, a deer similar to that comes by, where am I going to be at? It's just going to have to be literally that same kind of a thing. Like, where am I at headspace wise?
I'm going to be behind you with the camera. I'm going to be behind you with the camera. I'm like, oh, he's at. You got him. He's in frame.
We can shoot the same bow.
I know. I can shoot that bow. I can shoot that heavy thing.
Yeah, you can shoot that heavy bow.
That heavy carbon bow. Like, good lord. But it was interesting how you came full circle on that just by saying mindset, right? Yes. So the M in Rome is mindset. Exactly. And I don't think you did that intentionally. And I think that that's one of the great things about this and having this group and this conversation is to really emphasize those things, is that's what it's all about. It's about those opportunities. It's about the adventure, and it's about, understanding the mindset and where you're at, and, kind of what you want hunting, and the, it's very cliche to be like, oh, well, hunt your hunt, da 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 da, but there's a lot of different mindsets in this group, whether it's whether you should use a gun, whether you should shoot a spike, whether you should knock the spots off them. but realistically, I think that kind of to Joe's point is going to show the reality of the differences in the hunting styles and in space, not just amongst our group, but that exists out there, and that they can all interact together, just fine. So.
Absolutely. Joe, close it out.
Oh, thank you. Oh, what was the
Whatever you want.
Oh,
This is your thing. Close out the podcast.
I'm
man.
just a creative director, so I don't.
Yeah, what direction do you want this to go for the closing?
Yeah, you tell me what you're. Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully I know we can talk a good game, and hopefully we can walk the walk. But yeah, this season, I don't know. It'll be a little bit different. I'll be chasing content over antlers right now, and I kind of feel like an influencer, but
You are.
fuck off. But Mr. Underground over there, tell me.
Mr. Underground's been on a lot of podcasts.
Yeah,
recently,
what's up with that?
so-
You've been on all these podcasts.
get used
You've been
to it
on
at some
his podcast.
Hasn't been on mine yet.
It
Or
has
yours.
been on his. More mine. What the hell?
I won't be on yours.
I know. I don't want you on there. It's exclusive. I only. But
It's
yeah,
straight edge only.
yeah, straight edge. Too much caffeine, dude. You
Yeah.
got a caffeine limit on there. But yeah, I think there's a lot of directions this season can go, and we'll probably won't pick the right one, but we'll be there, and hopefully have a camera lens and pointing in that direction. So
In focus, crisp, clear failures. That's what you
yeah, noise leveling off, super grainy.
Yeah.
Definitely not have the lighting the right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Non-formatic card.
Right air. That's how we
Yes.
started out.
Yeah,
the
my
podcast.
right here. Yeah, we got $10,000 or more in fucking podcast equipment or formatting cards won't even work. So
Yeah.
that's how we
Good
roll.
stuff.
Perfect. Perfect imperfections. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Perfect imperfections.
All right.
And that's it.
Hit the road for fun and heartwarming fishing adventures with the Real American Road Trip.
I just want to hook up one time. I just need to hook up one time.
Catch the Waypoint Original Series every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on the Waypoint TV channel. Waypoint TV, your destination for outdoor entertainment.
I did get a bite. I have gotten a bite. I did feel it.
From dawn to dusk and every moment in between, Captain Justin Leake and Meredith McCord have an exciting adventure waiting in the water. Catch Chasing the Sun, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Waypoint TV. Waypoint TV, your destination for outdoor entertainment.